Hello guys, this is Observer. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to talk about zero data voxels, not zero volume voxels. That's something very different actually, not to get the names confused. Zero data voxels though. For this tutorial I'm going to assume that you've watched my first video of this particular series that is about how voxels work in Landmark. It's the basics of voxels. If you haven't seen it yet, go do that, pause this one, and I'll see you in a second. Alright, so let's presume that you've watched it now. I mean, you've watched it now. Thank you. Let's give a couple of examples of what you can do with this technique, just so you know what you're getting into here. It's not a complicated technique, but it's very, very ridiculously useful for any kind of building. I'm actually very surprised it's not been more widespread. This thing is very useful. So, you see this orb here, and never mind the terrible smoothing here. That was a different mistake I did. But these black ones, the shutters on the top of my dome here on the observatory, I pasted these on top here afterwards. And if you tried to paste a curve onto another curve before, you would know that you would cut away the curve underneath, because this contains air, and air is a solid voxel. Right? So air is a volume just the same as any other material. That's why it's part of why I wanted you to watch that other video first. So normally that would cut away this, but it didn't here. That's one thing we can use it for. Here's another thing you can use it for. We can see, like if you want to create a chain or something, this would be, if you try to do something like this, you know how difficult that would have to be. You would have to build it actually like this. You can't copy the center chain there or the center ring into the other ones normally. Because what will happen if you do that is, I'll do that here. This is a normal chain piece. If I copy that in here, you see how it cuts? Like, obviously that wasn't in the correct place, but no matter where I put it, it will cut where the air is, it will cut a hole. You see that? But with the anti-voxels, or this vacuum technique as I like to call it, it doesn't. Okay, a third example. You remember my inlays video a long time ago? Well, it just got a lot simpler. Look at this. Dunk. Oh, it just all of a sudden we have, well, that doesn't work too well. But we can put these into the ground without creating a hole in the ground. Let's try to do that just once with a normal circle that hasn't been done in a vacuum. That's what that would look like. We create a hole, right? That's the difference. Okay, so you might say, well, I've seen this before. I've seen this technique before. Well, you might not have seen this way of doing it before. Let me show you how it was done and how we can do it now. So here's how it was discovered. Remember in that video I made you watch just now with how voxels work, right? So there's a grid. The entire world is a grid, three-dimensional grid, and spots on that grid is where a voxel can exist. It's a volume that fills a spot in the three-dimensional grid. Now, one type of voxel that can fill that is the ones that you make yourself, that actually has a volume. A different type of voxel is the ones that is pre-rendered by the game. So the terrain is a different type of voxel. It has different properties. It doesn't count towards the same, like you can't copy a terrain voxel, for example. So that is being exploited using this technique. So how it was discovered was that someone placed something in here in an area that was originally underground. And then what they would do is use the heal tool to restore the original voxels here. That was not player-made voxels, but voxels generated by the terrain. Like this, they would restore this whole area here. An easier way would probably be to just make a selection volume for most of it anyways. Use the heal tool and restore it up here, and then fill up the whole place like that. Alright, so obviously this distorts things a little bit. If I take a copy of that, it will work mostly the same way. I will be able to paste it into the ground, but it's easy to mess up. It's possible to do it better than what I just did, but it's not a perfect technique. However, there's been a development in this that just makes things so much simpler. Alright, so now what we know is that an air voxel, that's just air, it's a solid thing that occupies a piece of the grid in the three-dimensional grid that covers the entire world. It's not the same as the pre-generated terrain. Because it's solid, we can actually copy it so long as we have anything else in our selection, like a built voxel. So what we want to do is we want to heal the air, basically. We just make a selection box, we use the heal tool on that air, and then within that area, we can go ahead and build anything. I'm just going to do something simple now, because I had shown you the different examples before what we can use it for. Now I built this within the selected air, or within the healed air. If I copy paste this out from here, I can paste it in. Let's see, I turn it around, flatten it down, and I can put it into the ground without making a hole, which obviously if I did it the normal method without healing the air first, it would turn out to one of these guys with the air in between. So basically we turn the air voxels into something we cannot copy. This is why I like to call this a vacuum, because you're basically building within a vacuum. So a vacuum building technique is what this is, really. I'm going to show you one pitfall. Maybe if you have something like this, you would like to have it a different material. Let's grab a material over here. Maybe take this one. And I paint it. If I were to copy that and paste it, not that way, down here, it no longer works because we're painting the selection box. So now we get that hole again. So that's one of the things you cannot do. You cannot modify it with the box. If you wanted to paint this, you would have to go through with the paint tool and paint each of them individually. That would work. If you do the selection box, you also hit those air voxels and you change it back into normal air. So don't do that. That's one of the big pitfalls. And I've run into that pitfall many times while building those, which caused a lot of anger. Alright, I hope that gave you some ideas. I hope you can use this for something. I'm sure that I can use it for a whole ton of things. It's really, really useful. Now, if you enjoyed these tutorials, there's a whole playlist of them. There's more being made every day, almost, nearly. So go over to my YouTube channel and check those out. It's in the back here with this strategically placed logo. Also, if you want to buy the game, there's a promo code listed underneath this. So if you wanna, if you're about to buy your way into beta, you might as well use that promo code. That way I'll get some cool stuff to give away to you guys. And I do that over on my Facebook page, so you can follow me there too. I'll see you guys later. Bye!